all of a sudden, to break the tension of the making out session, because that's what this needed, and that'll be end our minute in a minute, is Randal popping in saying, Emma, are you like this because you have a naturally large clit?
I knew you were going to tell him that. It just came out one day.
How? Okay, two questions here. there are two questions here, because we'll get into this obviously in the next episode more, because this conversation continues into the next episode we're going to do. But how does that even come up in conversation at all? I'm sorry. I have very good close guy friends. We talk about everything. But that, and I've had guy friends for many, many years. I've been very, very tight with people. Never, ever, if that ever come up in a conversation. Ever.
Then again, Dante is friends with a guy who watched hermaphroditic porn while on the job.
Touche. Absolutely good point. Kurt, has this conversation ever come up in your life? I know it never came up in mine.
No. Not at all. All I could think of, though, is that maybe Kevin Smith must have pulled him behind the camera before they started rolling, like, hey, say this. Trust me. Just say this line.
How much of that is true?
And
that's right. The world may never know.
And what I said is the minute ended here. And here, it just came out one day. What the line there or the oversized clit?
You know, I didn't even think about the fact that Kevin may have threw that in there talking about his own wife. I didn't even think about it that way.
I know. That's what made me think, like, oh, Kevin, oh, how dare you? Oh, no.
And did he run that line by her first? Or is that something he told him off screen to just hear an actual reaction on the screen?
Only the best directors want that natural reaction. So that might have been a one take to sell right there.
Oh, my God.
Alrighty, just briefly returning to DC, and then we can finish this off.
Yeah, okay, you're going to do.
After the run of Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Suicide Squad, and Justice League, I want to hear no more complaining about Superman Returns or Green Lantern.
Actually, I'll date this podcast a little bit. Did you hear Henry Cavill's out?
Oh. Mustache must have been the breaking point.
Yeah.
Smart man, he's getting off of the sinking ship.
He was the bomb in Mission Impossible, though.
I'm sorry, Brandon Routh was a better Superman.
I enjoy Brandon Routh, actually.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him. I enjoy him in Legends of Tomorrow, by the way. I enjoy him on there.
And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I don't care. Dylan Dog, Dead of Night was an underrated movie. And he was great in that.
See, I'm not even... I haven't seen these DC movies, and I've been pretty clear on that. And just based on what I've seen, I enjoy the Superman that's in Supergirl more than Henry Cavill. Yeah. I'm not going to lie.
Well, it's because they have to take everything deadly seriously and dark and gritty, you know... It's basically not what Superman really is.
Like, I got to look it up real fast at who plays Superman and Supergirl, but he's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Superman is not dark and gritty. Superman is about hope and optimism and idealism.
True justice in the American
And
way.
that takes me to the quote I got from Kevin Smith when he talks about the DC Universe. He says that when you take all hope and joy out of the DC heroes, then you just don't. It's not the same with no hope or joy.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a very good point. I didn't think about it that way.
I think it's because they got complaints about Green Lantern being too jokey, so they went to the opposite end of the spectrum. And now they got complaints about going to the opposite end of the spectrum, they're going back to the other end of the spectrum with Shazam.
I'm seriously searching who plays Superman in Supergirl, and I'm trying to find it. Even though I still say Dean Cain is my Superman still from Lois and Lane.
Hell, you know what? I'm going to go right ahead and say it. Steel was better than anything in the DC cinematic universe except Wonder Woman.
Tyler Hoffman. That dude did it. Yeah. He was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. At Supergirl.
At least Steel actually held my nephew's interest every time we've seen it.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
It really is. It really is a hot take. All right, let's get out of here, though. We'll wrap things up here. That's how we're going to end this minute. I want to ask you, Kurt, your history with Clerks 2, as we talked about Clerks in the last movie. What's your history with Clerks 2?
Clerks 2 is a very enjoyable sequel. You could tell that Kevin Smith, I think, letting the reins off a little, take it, maybe having more fun with this, I should say. I almost was going to pick the minute where they do the big dance number, because that was a very enjoyable scene too. It just shows that Kevin Smith is just really, I don't know, just starting to have a lot of fun with his own source material. So it's just a very fun sequel.
Then again, it also helps that he had more money to throw around this time.
It's very true. I was going to say, though, one thing I do, and I'm going to say this from now until the end, this is my favorite Kevin Smith movie. The fact is, it's as Kurt said, it's a lot more fun. And as someone who's been sitting here trying to break down the movie by minute, trying to make this easier for everybody to comprehend. All right, everybody. Here's what happened. We kind of lost Kurt. Our internet connection kind of went down, and Kurt Hoffman doesn't really have anything to plug anyway, except for his band in New York, and I'll put the links up in the chat for that information. Thank you so much for listening to the Clerks Minute. Used as part of the Filling the Void podcast network. And we can be heard everywhere you find podcasts, including Spotify and iHeartRadio. And we're going to be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you so much for listening to this show. I'm Blake.
I'm Kyle.
And have a good day, everybody.
We don't serve cow tippers in the morning.
Snorting, smoking weed, doing coke, drinking beers, rolling fatties, smoking blunts. Who smokes the blunts? We smoke the blunts, rolling blunts and smoking.